As much as I love Dark Souls, the areas in these games are either really hit or miss to me. I've always played Dark Souls more so for the bosses, not the areas. I love the areas in these games. The atmosphere is unparalleled. But it has some pretty bad ones, and I think the bad ones outshine the good ones sometimes. So I want to tell you what my least favorite area in each Souls game is. Let's get on with it. Coming in at the number one spot, Demon Souls. Hey, Demon Souls. It's been about a year. I actually played the PS5 remaster almost a year ago. Well, it might be a year when this video comes out. Demon Souls is one of my favorites in the series. Nowhere near the top, but I'd say I put it in the middle. I still really like it, and I think it has some really good areas, actually. I think the areas have stood the test of time. I think it's aged like a fine wine. And especially with the PS5 remaster, that really helps in its case. But the game does have a couple areas that are really not good. Some people will say, most people will say actually, that the Poison Swamp in the Valley of Defilement is the worst, but I actually like it. Listen. I have a thing for poison swamps in these games. It might sound weird, it might sound freaky, but hey, that's the intention, I guess. But my least favorite area would probably be the third final area in Tower of Latria. To me, it's just really hard to figure out this area. It's not one of those areas where it has an interesting puzzle that will make you think. It's just I don't understand how you can figure out to go in this cage and go down under where you are. I never would have thought of that. And I think I even had to look this up in the original and in the remaster. And to me, that's not really great area design if you feel like you have to look something up. The whole area itself, everything else, isn't too bad, but I've just never liked the Tower of Latria. I don't know, it just hasn't been a fun area for me, and the fact that I really had to look this part up when I really shouldn't have, I think it deserves the worst spot. Still not a bad area though, just probably my least favorite out of all of them. My least favorite in Dark Souls 1 was a really hard one to choose. If I'm being honest, Dark Souls 1 is my least favorite game in the series, and that's mainly because of the areas. It has some pretty okay ones, Honor Londo, the Ash Lake, the Duke's Archives, and you're gonna flame me for this, but Blighttown's probably my favorite area in the whole game. Yell at me all you want, get your pitchforks, but it's my favorite area in all of Dark Souls 1. I've just always thought that. So my least favorite area, by far, would have to be the Catacombs. This isn't a very unpopular take. The Catacombs is just a really shitty area. Imagine walking at 3 in the morning throughout your house with no flashlight trying to get food. That's basically how this feels. You feel like you're gonna wake everyone up and you're gonna get in trouble, you're gonna get yelled at, you're gonna get spanked. And that's how it feels with all the darkness and skeletons in this area. The skeletons are your abusive parents and your siblings who have had enough of your shit. And you really start to feel that when you go through the area and you're getting absolutely manhandled by everything. You can fix this issue somewhat if you have the Skull Lantern or the Bright Bug, but chances are you're not going to know where any of that is in your first playthrough. So this area has no redeeming qualities. Even the boss Nito isn't that good, especially since when you fall down his arena, you take damage. That's really all I can say about this area. Bad area. Moving on to Dark Souls 2. Now, Dark Souls 2 was a really difficult choice for me, because I actually like a lot of the areas in Dark Souls 2, but there's also ones that aren't so good. Earthen Peak is a pretty okay one. It's inoffensive. No Man's Wharf is one of the ones that a lot of people hate, but I've never went through the reindeer fuckland, as people call it, because I don't want to hurt myself like that. I'm not that much of a loser, and I'm not that depressed. So if I had to choose in the main game, it'd probably be either Black Gulch, the Gutter, or All of the Memories. I can't really choose for this one. It's just that hard of a choice for me, but if I had to weigh it down, it'd probably be the Memories, because the Memories are really a nothing area. At least with the Gutter and Black Gulch, it's quick, and the Memories are also quick, but I don't really see any point of the Memories unless you want to kill all the bosses, unless you want to kill Vendrick. That's why the Memories are probably the worst collection for me. I consider them one area because they're so short, and just there's really no point to go out of your way to get them. That's really all I have to say. I can't find anything else to say about them. They're nothing areas. One has a boss. Some of them are a little fun to explore, but it just doesn't really make me feel anything. I might say something controversial here, but I think Bloodborne has the weakest areas in any Souls game. This is probably why Bloodborne is my least favorite Souls spinoff. And I know that's going to be a really controversial thing to say, but I just don't like it that much. Part of the biggest thing that makes me really like a Souls game is the bosses and areas. And oh my god, Bloodborne has some amazing bosses. But the areas and to get to the bosses just always feel like a chore to me. I don't like any of the areas in this game. There's some that are a bit okay, like Yharnam. Old Yharnam isn't that bad. But the forest, I don't really remember the name. The forest to get to the shadows, and Old Yharnam is a little bit bad. New Yharnam is the better version, but it's also not great. To make this section way shorter than it really needs to be, I'm just going to say it. I don't like any of the areas in Bloodborne. Every area just is not that great to me. I can't really pick one. So, I'm sorry, Bloodborne fans. It's just not, it doesn't appeal to me. So, on to Dark Souls 3. Hey, I just want to say, if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and please consider liking and subscribing. It helps out a ton. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. Dark Souls 3 is by far my favorite game in the Souls series. However, it also does have some pretty ones. I wouldn't say really any of the areas here are fantastic. They're all just kind of okay. But if I had to choose, it would definitely go to Honor Londo. Okay, let me explain. Honor Londo in Dark Souls 1, I didn't really find to be a great area to begin with. I don't really see why it's so great like everyone claims. But they made it even worse in Dark Souls 3, and it's obviously just for nostalgia purposes. And I get that. I have nothing wrong with nostalgia bait. It's perfectly fine. However, it's just a nothing area. It takes, like 30 seconds to run to the boss. And the boss is also really easy. Really good boss, though. Not bad at all. I'm just saying the boss is easy to me, at least. But you took this grandiose area from the first game and just reduced it to this. And it's just a nothing area to me. I may not like Irithyll Dungeon. I may not like Smoldering Lake. I may not like Farron Keep. But all of those are relatively short, and they have their purpose. Honor Londo does not have a purpose to me. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about it. Moving on to Sekiro. Sekiro was also a really difficult one to choose for me, because I actually really like all of the areas in Sekiro. All the areas are just really good to me. I love Sekiro. Sekiro is probably my second favorite in the Souls series, and part of it is because of the areas. The areas are just really fun to explore. However, there is one, and that would go to Sunken Valley. Holy shit, these guys have greater aim than a guy in a 2012 COD montage. These guys can shoot you from anywhere in the map, and that's what makes it so annoying. Sekiro isn't built for range combat, so having these guys with guns constantly shoot at you and have the accuracy of just the greatest marksman in the world, it makes it infuriating to go through. Granted, it's a short area, so it's not horrible, but compared to everything else in the game, it's probably the most offensive one. I don't know how popular or unpopular this choice may be, but it's better than other places like Mibu Village and Ashina Depths, because Ashina Depths and Mibu Village really have nothing offensive about them to me. You can sneak past all the mini bosses in it, so I have no problem with them. However, Sunken Valley, worst area. That's it. Let's move on to the final game, Elden Ring. If I'm being honest, I don't like Elden Ring too much to begin with. I know I have a lot of unpopular opinions in this video thus far, and some people might be pissed at me. It's just Elden Ring. I thought it was okay. I thought it was a fun open world game. I sunk not nearly as many hours as some people, but it was a really good game. I won't lie to you when I say that. Very, very, very good game. However, the bosses in the game are probably one of the things I dislike the most, but that's a video for another day. And the areas I thought were pretty good. Hogwarts was good. The lake leading to Hogwarts was good. Stormvale Castle was a really good area, and I just really love that area. Lindell Capital wasn't bad. The giant snowy place, I forgot the name, was pretty okay. So I have to narrow it down to one major area, and that would be Caelid. I'm pretty sure this is a popular choice because Caelid is just a really bad area to me. It's a place infested with rot, and I don't really mind Scarlet Rot that much. It didn't affect me that much in my playthrough, but in general, it's just not a fun place to go through, especially if you stumble upon an early game, which I didn't, because I walked there and I was like, obviously I'm not supposed to be here. But the area has some pretty decent weapons you can get, especially the Meteor Katana. I really like that weapon. I love katanas, Dark Souls in general. Might make a weapon ranking of my favorite weapons in each Souls game or something like that. And speaking of, I got this video idea from this guy, Ember, and he's a really good Dark Souls YouTuber, and I figured I'd take my own spin on it. And that's really all I have to say about Caelid. Thank you guys for watching if you made it this far, and thank you just for clicking on the video in general. Please remember to like and subscribe and share the video. Thank you. Bye.